Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Capricorn. If Capricorn is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. Oops, come on. All right, so our card tonight is the Ace of Discs. The beginning of some really good fortune. We have a heart right here, you can see. So we're starting out in a place of love. Love and devotion. Okay, so if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It's free to subscribe. So here I'm seeing the image of, it looks like, I can just imagine a kind of aged emperor. We have some kind of ornate hat or hairdo. It looks like kind of the longer hair here with a little beard. The clothes and maybe some kind of wand or like a staff of some kind. And it just, to me, has this posture of, bravery, of leadership, of really, knowing and taking hold of one's place. But there seems to be kind of a, I don't know, maybe growing weary of these things and knowing that there are preparations to be made to begin to transition into the next phase of life. And so, I wonder if you are getting into the age of retirement, or if this is maybe some fundamental aspect of your life that I feel like there's a sense of getting close to the end of it. And it does feel like this might be within the realm of money because we have that Ace of Discs. So I really believe there is going to be a new revenue stream of some kind. Maybe a new job. Maybe you are getting to retirement. You've been planning and doing some investing. I don't know exactly, but I want to keep looking. But I do feel like there's this really kind of wise, noble energy here. But at the same time, it's just kind of like, okay, I've kind of reached my prime within this thing that I have spent so much time building myself up in. And now I feel like it's time to do something else with myself. I have maybe a little bit more time coming up, and I do, and I think it's like, okay, so what am I going to do here? Am I going to do some volunteer work? Am I going to work on the home? Am I going to go traveling, see things? Go maybe visit the kids or grandkids, or whatever it is. And I feel just, there is a sense of maybe being kind of weary about it as well. Weary about going on with whatever it is you're doing, but also weary about ending things, because it's an unknown. And we're talking about Capricorn, so you've probably worked most of your life since you were young. Probably, like most Capricorn people I talk to, they've worked since they were like, oh yeah, I had my first job when I was like 13 or 14. I've been working every day of my life since, and so making that, and it's not an end to work, but definitely turning into something else. I almost wonder if you are considering maybe starting some kind of business. you know, doing something that you have been wanting to do for a long time, you know, and kind of making that your passion, you know, to kind of fill up that time there. Now we also have a goat, so we have Capricorn in just full activation here. We have an eye right here. We also have a person in a boat here, so a movement of energies. And it looks like somebody way up on the summit here, reaching up to this metaphysical realm. So I wonder if, you know, the work that you have been doing, the thing that maybe you are considering, you know, taking some time away from, or retiring, or transitioning into a different field of work. I wonder if it hasn't. It feels like in some ways, and I think this is maybe where it's been difficult. It just feels devoid of your ability to kind of integrate your spiritual beliefs and practices. It feels like maybe you've been doing something that's pretty, you know, I mean, like any office job or corporate job, or, you know, something like this where, you absolutely, you know, respect, the comfort of everybody else, but also there's really kind of the expectation that we keep things very, you know, business, right? Just focus on the work, talk about things that are, you know, in relation to work, or that are received well by most people. And, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. You know, I've definitely had jobs where I was very happy to not discuss my personal, you know, interests in things with other people. But I think when you go on like that for long periods of time, it can feel kind of like you're stepping out of your life and going into this very sterile, kind of gray, liminal place. And you spend so much of your life there. So many hours of your waking life. And so I feel like there is this kind of growing excitement to be able to have more time to partake in your spiritual pursuits. Okay, so maybe you will be off trying some new things, maybe going to that, you know, silent retreat, or, you know, doing some kind of yoga classes, or going to like, you know, like a local Gnostic mass, or maybe joining a new congregation, or, you know, whatever it is. I don't know. There's so many things that we can find. Even myself out here in the rural middle of the country, a lot of different interesting festivals and religious, you know, practices and ceremonies and gatherings and magical ones and all kinds of, just all kinds of stuff. And so, you know, you needn't look far usually. And I think you are being led into this part of your life where, I think you're going to put a lot of effort into finding things that make sense to you, finding things that, you know, you just kind of, I really want to try that. You know, I really want to go and see what this is about. And now I have a little time to do that. And I also see we have a bow right here. Okay, so I'm looking at that and it's like, this is like the present to yourself that you've been waiting for. You know, and I think within this time, it is something that is not even just something you want to do. I think it feels necessary to your life. This is something that, isn't some kind of pleasurable thing. I mean, it probably is, yeah. But this is something that feels like, if I don't do this, I don't know, I don't know where the meaning really is. I need to kind of find something that speaks to me, that makes me feel something greatly. If you've ever been into, let me just preface this with, I have no religious affiliations. I have no occult or magical or, anything like this. I don't belong to any systems or institutes or, anything like that. So in some way, I guess, I how I view it is, it allots me the ability to kind of go and experience all kinds of different holy and magical and religious practices, because I don't know, even from a young age, I don't know. As soon as I found out about religion, I was a little bit older because I wasn't really raised around the Abrahamic religions. I had an idea of them, and we had Christmas and stuff like that, but it wasn't something anybody talked about at all, really, until I was older. And once I found out about it, I wanted to go to all kinds of churches and temple and as I got older into my teens, I started to meet people who were, doing magic and part of these different magical initiatory groups and systems. And so anyways, that the experience of finding things that make you feel like you're in the presence of the divine. For me, when I go to, like a cathedral, especially if they're doing, mass in like Latin or something. I don't know what's going on exactly. Some of it, yeah. But I will tell you that even if I don't necessarily, I'm not initiated there, right? But I still feel the divine. I feel the grace of God. I feel quite moved, to tears often. And this is it's not just mass, right? It's different gatherings, different, different things. But when you feel it, you feel it. And you know it. You know that thing. There's nothing else like it. Maybe, the only thing I can compare it to is seeing my daughter for the first time. Seeing her in the morning, every morning. Seeing her, kind of walk into the kitchen and look up at me and smile. I get that same feeling, But I just feel that you are so drawn to this path of finding your thing, finding your things, those pathways that blow the doors wide open and you peer in there and, it's just an intensity of life and totality and awe and just awe. And I'm looking here, it reminds me of the hermit. It also reminds me, now it looks like the hermit with a large cape on, the person here, but it also, if you kind of move this here, if you kind of walk this out, it looks like the Fool. So we have the Fool and the hermit all in one. And I kind of love that, different aspects of the same traveler. And so, you know, I feel there's kind of a loosening of the collar, losing a bit of your inhibition, allowing yourself to get into those places of, you know, the whirlwind that it is to be of love and in love and ecstatic and swept away by the beauty of belief, of divinity, of the cosmos, of God, goddess, and all other things. And I almost feel like there is a it feels like somebody in your grandmother's maybe a sister, one of your grandmother's sisters. And I almost wonder if they were considered kind of, well, unmarried, right? Maybe unmarried or widowed young, but spent a lot of their life alone, and then maybe, you know, like in companionship with one of their sister, and maybe your grandmother, maybe one of the other sisters. But I can see going from kind of being alone to being companioned with another sibling, and later in life. And this was, I think, somebody who was quite devout. And I think that people kind of even just maybe even poked fun secretly behind her back, because it was like her life seemed quite tragic, right, to other people. You know, like she didn't have the experience of some great love affair, or you know, the fun and frivolous and, you know, vacations and kids and, you know, all these things. And but the thing is that she lived a small life, but she was absolutely devoted to her faith, and she had such rich experiences within that faith, things that people couldn't understand. Absolutely. And maybe she didn't really share them that much, but you could see, even as a child looking at her, that she had this warmth in her eyes, this just I just imagine like the keeper of fire, the keeper of the fire, right? Keeping it going. And there was a fire in her. And maybe she was kind of quiet and he didn't necessarily move too far, stayed in the same house for most of her life, kind of thing. And in some way, I feel that you really, even as a child, were drawn to this person and their lifestyle. And I think, now I don't think that you lived out the same story by any means, but I do feel like as you've gotten into this part of your life, there is this kind of urge to simplify things, and to live kind of a more quiet lifestyle. I see a window here, and I can imagine kind of gazing out the window, watching the trees, watching the birds, looking for those moments of inspiration. And it's not like, okay, I'm standing here watching the world go by. I am present in this moment, the pulsing of life and all things. That buzz of the energetic. It's like in the summer, when and this year is going to be big cicada year. I actually just talked to my husband. Shout out to Dove and Serpentero. I talked him into promising that we would take a drive south to witness the cicada. We get them up where we're at. They're called the Dog Day cicada, which they come out every year. They're annual. But there's 2 broods in America this year that are going to be emerging, and they say there's just going to be, I can't remember if they said it was like, millions of them or whatever, but we are definitely going. I want to go see this phenomena. And so what I was trying to get to before I got excited about the cicada, it's like in the summer and you're just going about your business, doing stuff outside, and suddenly you're acutely aware of the buzz of the bugs. The cicadas are singing. It's warm, it's hot, and they're all, you got the you have the crickets going, and the cicada and the buzzing and the just humming along, and you feel like you are wrapped in the orchestra of life, this beautiful thing that you couldn't escape even if you wanted to. It's inescapable, but there is beauty, and it feels right. Everything is perfect in its own place where it belongs, and so you belong within it. And yes, I do. I feel like there's just a sense of real activation here. Now we also have a 6 and a 1. 61. That is our number tonight. All right, let's take a look over here. We have that heart. We have a bird, okay? And we do have, it looks like a cardinal. So whenever we see a cardinal, we know somebody we love who has transitioned. They are coming to visit. They are saying hello. We have another 61 here. So 61 seems really important for some reason. Now we also have a person who is holding, it looks like a snake. Okay, and it looks like a child behind them. So I kind of, I feel there is a protector mother energy here. And I do feel like kind of, and I feel like this is maybe a spiritual protection. Kind of a sense of, as you go into this deeper interaction with the divine, there is this kind of motherly energy protecting you. There is a sense of that psychic self-defense. Now the serpent aligned with knowledge, right? To bestow some kind of knowledge. Now knowledge isn't always well received, is it? Sometimes it can be quite dark. Sometimes it can be quite morbid. It can be things that maybe we didn't want to know, right? And so I do feel like there's a sense of kind of protecting self to some degree, in that mother energy there. And so, I feel that you are so adequate at this work. You already know instinctually how to kind of, manage yourself through these corridors of the interior, where you are, yes, experiencing, divine things. You're experiencing the fantastical, and likely having some pretty intense dreams. And, at times it can feel there's a sneaking sense of something uncomfortable, maybe even a bit of terror, and it's lurking at the edges of your perception. And this is where, we have to protect ourselves. When you are doing the work for one reason or another, it draws in these roaming energies, these predatory energies, or intelligences. And so it is important that we do protect ourselves, and when it feels overwhelming, whatever we're exploring, to take breaks. And there is a good reason why not only magicians and magical practitioners have to cleanse and consecrate and you know, ready their tools and their workspaces and the temple and, you know, all the things that it is part of the rituals. You know, you have to have an opening and a closing and so on. But this is also true in religious ceremony, okay? If we understand it or not, it's happening, you know, especially like in Catholic, and that's more overt if you follow what they're doing. And so it is something that is there for a reason. And you know, I'm not always a super traditionalist about things. I like to make things my own. I like to do them in a way that doesn't make me, like, when I'm doing something and it feels like a chore that I don't want, I'm just going through the motions. I don't, you know, it does not stick with me. But when I learn something and I then can figure out how do I feel inspired to enact this ritual? How would I do this? Even how I read, you know, it wouldn't really be traditional. Although, you know, even you read the books that have been written about, you know, tasseography or mancy, a lot of it's just about the symbolism, the relationship of the symbols. And I am a firm believer that we need to make our own relationships. And they have to be kind of fluid, right? They have many different applications, and it all depends on the context as well. I don't necessarily always like to adhere to prescribed meanings or how we do the thing, right? Because that would be boring for me. I couldn't do as many readings as I do. So I do think that it's important that you build your own relationship here, and find things that make sense to you. Right? Don't be afraid to ask questions and explore and do research and try things. Try them. Try it out. See how it goes, you know. But yes, being careful. Being careful about, you know, what comes in, what you let in. Be mindful about these things. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to look at this Indigo Sage affirmation cards. These are the air element. And, oops, sorry, baby. And we're just going to flip through here. We're going to stop where it feels right. All right. And it says, you know in your heart, surrender to behold every moment in joyful agreement with everlasting life. With everlasting life. Okay. All right. Okay, Capricorn, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you because I do, and I thank you so much for spending this time with me tonight. It's always such an honor for me. If you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel so much. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. And if you'd like to leave a comment, please do. I would love to hear from you. Other than that, you know, take care of yourself. We'll talk in a few days, and I say good night. Good night. Good night.